Afternoon, everyone. This is Fred here from Deutsche Beverage and Process, part of the Middleby Brewing and Distilling Group. Here to talk about serving tanks in different shapes and fashion. If this is something you're considering, especially if you're looking to consider your general beer's freshness in your operation, a design element with a great function to it. Also, if you're looking to decrease CO2 usage, decrease chemical and CIP costs, reduce labor, really with labor, reducing any potential of safety, any compliance there as staff are moving kegs and the dangers and hazards around that. Also, when you're looking at reducing the general cost of a pallet of new kegs as compared to buying a brand new tank, and where that fits if you're looking at on-premise production. We're going to go through several examples and several customers here that we've had the pleasure of working with. The first is a 3-leg run in Virginia. This was a very unique job because we did the top manways, smooth backs for the tanks, so easy to maintain. All of the glycol inlets were ghost piped at the top to make all the connections very easy. But as you will see, the draft ports are there at the front, and any of the connections going to the glycol are hidden in the back. Here at 3-Leg Run, we did these custom ports for the draft outlets at no additional cost, and we work with their draft installers to make these pretty seamless installs. Here is one of several photos from the Trolley Barn Fermentory here in Charlotte, North Carolina. This was a pretty special project where we worked with Phil, the owner, James, the brewer, and the architecture firm to really work through a number of elements here. And these are actually dummy tanks where the expense of bringing direct draft lines in 304 stainless pipe to these tanks was going to outweigh the cost of literally having us plumb them directly to the draft port. Something very nice as backdrop on the tile work that they did. And again, we worked with the draft line installers to make all the inlets and outlets seamless, so it's still a great functional product. Here's a zoomed in model of this where we still left the CO2 carb stone ball valve there. Really cool from the hardware standpoint, as well as the analog gauges to make it look very industrial, and it suited what the architect and the owner were looking for. Here's another shot of that job. Here, this is Torch and Crown in Soho in New York. We did these tanks on elevated legs. Something again that this has a degree of function and really cool aesthetics as a focal point in the main tap room. This is a brand new tap room in about 2020, and this services draft destinations on 3 floors. This is LaBelle Brewing, more of a standard design here with 3 5-barrel serving tanks behind the bar. Again, nice division of space. Give a very nice backdrop for the customers from the bar, but also serving the purpose of them wanting to reduce keg count, reduce labor, reduce chemical usage, and have a really cool feel while breaking up the space between the production area that you see in the back and the really nice forward-facing bar. Something really cool in a newer project in Sugar Land, Texas is Talliard. This was pretty special where we got to work with some engineers from their staff. The owners and operators have a big background in oil and gas engineering, and they really did some cool stuff with our engineering team to have this completely plumbed from the cold side in their production space, and you'll see that with the diverter panel there and all of the piping coming up through the center. This accomplished several things where clean in place became easy for tanks that are stacked 3 high. Certainly the impact of this right when you walk in the main entrance was considerable, and this is what they wanted to accomplish. Again, a really cool thing that we do here at Deutsche is we'll work with the general construction team, engineers, architects, but the craft beer line installer. So all of this was seamless, and you're really looking at a small amount of CO2 hose lines and the draft lines coming off the back. A really nice shot of Talliard here where you're looking at their mezzanine, the main bar, food service area, and then really what the impact is of these tanks when you come in the main entrance. While some folks may think it might be difficult to maintain, all of this was designed again with sanitation and service in mind. So again, all of these stainless steel lines are plumbed down to the diverter panel, easy transfers, easy clean in place. All butterfly valves on the front, but there are pneumatic valves in the back to feed these vessels from their cold side. Another very cool project, this is Atlas's second location in Alexandria, Virginia. This opened over the summer of 2024. We had to work with their team on really a number of topics that we've discussed already, from really not wanting to use kegs at this location unless it was seasonal beers coming from their main production spot. There are 6 of these serving tanks to serve their core beers. These are each 10-barrel volumes, but apart from the keg component, they also did not want to lose any storage space there at the bottom. As you can see, we elevated the legs considerably. These tanks sit at about 12 and a half feet above the bar. We were able to work with their engineering team to build stainless steel shelves, as you'll see here in the bottom. So it's still nice, clean, and sanitary. They can have their mugs, their cans, their pizza boxes, kind of you name it, without it looking too much like clutter. And they were able to accomplish a really cool backdrop that had awesome aesthetic without losing the functionality. All of this is operational and accessible from a mezzanine up on top there. So as far as accessing the manways, all of the hardware, carbonation inlets, main discharge lines, and main transfer lines from their cold side, all of that is on the back. So this is customer facing. A really cool project that we got to work with the Trolley Barn Fermentory, one of the Legion family brands here in Charlotte, North Carolina. You saw a portion of this earlier where those smaller 2-barrel tanks were up on the mezzanine, really as part of the hardware component, making it look industrial and commercial while still serving a purpose on not having staff lug kegs up and down 3 flights of stairs, or staff bringing a keg in on a dolly while a customer might be using the elevator at the same time. This is a fermentory, so no beer or wort is actually being brewed here. Everything is brewed at one of their other main production locations, and there is a van that they have, a Freightliner temperature-controlled van. We built a transport tank in that really matches the volume of each of these, about 8 hectoliters. And James pulls the van right up to an external sanitary port, plugs in his transfer lines there, and then there are 2 diverter panels, one for tank farm A, one for tank farm B, as you look at the split of tanks. And then he was able to turn on the pumps literally from an iPad in his van once he's on the Wi-Fi network and pump into the tanks. From here, all the active fermentation, all the crashing and conditioning happening in the brights, then can transfer over to these 12 serving tanks, 6 on the front, 6 on the back. And something that was really cool was that we did a really good job at manufacture and installation, where everything is plumbed 304 stainless steel, keeping this nice and clean. Everything's easy for transfers. Everything's easy for CIP cycles. And another unique feature is that these are the bag and tank design. So you're also looking at reducing CO2 use you're using compressed air as positive pressure on a bladder style bag, multi-layer membrane bag that has the beer inside of it, helping maintain more freshness, helping reduce, again, CO2. Once those bags are full, you're not dosing anymore with CO2. You're also reducing the use of chemicals. You're really not CIPing the tanks themselves. You're just cleaning or clean out of place all of these parts and connections. And then really all of that was done by our service team. So you have the compressed air lines. You've got the really cool hammered aluminum glycol lines coming down. And then we also integrated a CIP skid. So again, really important to this customer from an aesthetic and a functionality that we're not dragging brewer's hose everywhere. Everything was plumbed. Here's a zoomed in version of that. As you will see, they built all their liquor wells, their liquor racks, everything around this being the showcase. This is the original trolley barn in Charlotte. So a long time ago, this was used to bring the trolleys in for maintenance as well as storage between use. Really cool spot if you're in Charlotte, North Carolina. I highly recommend it. Backdrop shot of those stainless steel tanks there at Trolley Barn in Charlotte. Another zoomed out picture of the Trolley Barn here in Charlotte. Really cool, where we did all the customizations on the ghost piping, the glycol inlets and outlets, keeping the backs of those tanks very smooth. No chance of people bumping into the backs of any instrumentation or piping with the potential of like knocking a fitting loose. Also keeping it very easy to clean. All of this is customer facing, and you will see the other bank of 6 of the 12 serving tanks that are elevated on what the architect designed to look like another frame related to something that you would see in a train station. That is the bulk of the photos in reference. Again, serving tanks, they're a big part of what we do here for new designs, existing locations, full turnkey systems. When people are looking at, again, that functional showpiece, we offer them in vertical, jacketed, horizontal, jacketed, as well as single wall tanks in any configuration for a walk-in cooler. But also we can do the what we call kind of a dummy tank, where it's a shell, a little bit more of an architectural touch there. But I hope this was informative. Please reach out to us if you have any questions or if we can help you with your serving tank install. Another location here with horizontal serving tanks where we did the bag-in tank design. This is a Few Old Goats Brewing in Virginia. Very cool, where they had, I think, 16 of these installed with freshness of beer, reducing labor, reducing chemical costs, among many other variables. The biggest being they wanted some really cool backdrop that had an industrial feel to it. So we built these special braces, these saddle bands, so it looked really nice inside of the square tubing. So all the inlets, outlets, sight glasses as they're filling those bags inside the tanks. And New Realm in Greenville, South Carolina, this is their sour house facility. In similar fashion to the Trolley Barn, this is a little bit more of a fermentory where the wort is brought in from other locations. They can ferment it. They can barrel age it. They can use the cool ship that we provided. We've also did a fruit soaking tank. So for any live contact fruit that they're looking at for certain styles of beer. But these are 14-foot copper serving tanks. But these are the backdrop of their main bar downstairs in Greenville. Certainly a showpiece. Carrie and the team there wanted to accomplish exactly that, where they had massive ceilings and something to fill in the space there while still making it punch and make it feel like it's a brewery. We did a lot of very cool custom work with Micromatic and Crafty Beer guys based in Charlotte to make all of these inlets and outlets and connections look as if that they were just fresh from manufacture. Another fun job in a very industrial space where they wanted to capture that. This is Penguin City in Youngstown, Ohio. More traditional in design, but a very unique space where they were looking to fill this. These are elevated tanks where they also have some storage around them. But as you'll see, the main trunk line's coming off to go to different draft line outlets. So, perfect example of how we work with the installers, electricians, and architects to make sure that these really suit what clients are looking for. These are live draw off the front too, so if a customer is looking for just a sample of beer, they can take it right off the Perlix sample port there, but also you're looking at the long draw system at these black glycol outlets.